Good evening and welcome to the Thursday, April 8th meeting of the St. Tammany Parish School Board. Ms. Coakley, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Harrell?
Here.
Mr. Reed? Here. Ms. Hines? Here. Mr. Garman? Here. Mr. Luke? Here. Mr. Nation? Richardson? Here. Mr. Winkler? Here. Mr. Baker? Here. Mr. Bencourt?
Here.
Ms. Blaney? Present. Mr. Hersey?
Here.
Mr. Rowe?
Here.
Mr. Guzan? Here. Ms. Page? Here.
Thank you, Ms. Coakley. Up next, we have the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Ms. Page, would you please introduce them?
We have two students here with us this evening. Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Emma Smith, North Shore High School, JROTC Cadet Battalion Commander, and Cadet Major Joshua Page, North Shore High School, JROTC Cadet Battalion Executive Officer. Please stand as the cadets lead us in our invocation and pledge.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board members, do anybody have visitors they would like to recognize tonight? Mr. Bro.
Yes, I'd like to recognize my wife, who is a former teacher at Slidell High, retired, and my son, Dr. Jason Bro, and his wife, Dr. Jackie Bro, both graduates of Slidell High, 1997. Go Tigers. And their three sons, that is William, right up the front, Andrew and Jonathan, and they're all sitting in the lobby, so you can't really see them. But
Thank you, Mr. Bro. I would like to recognize, I think we've got a whole bunch of pre-K team and coaches out there in the lobby as well. Oh, Ms. Lamy.
I wanted to recognize a former coworker and lifelong friend, Dee Dee Revere, and also Mr. Brennan McCurley, who was my daughter's all-time favorite principal at Slidell Junior High and then at Lakeshore. Thank you for being here.
Mr. Kuzan. Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll move on to the superintendent update. Mr. Javia.
Good evening, board members. We won't be in school 2 days this week, so just one update, and that's our COVID numbers, which are extremely positive this week. As I told you before, we've been on definitely a positive trend. So this week with students, we've only had 9 positives since last Thursday evening, and faculty and staff only 1 positive. So hopefully we will keep that moving in a positive direction. And the parish positivity rate is, again, staying right around the 2% mark. So all those things are extremely positive, and I hope that that trend continues for this school system. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Javia. We've got some special recognitions. Mr. Javia?
Yes, sir. So at this time, I'd like to recognize the Slidell High School Girls State Championship Division I powerlifting team. This team is comprised of many girls who have sacrificed over the course of the school year. When you look at the team score at the state meet, you can see that it was a complete team effort. Yes, they did have some outstanding individuals, but this team contributed to this team score, which knocked off the likes of Pineville, Natchitoches Central, Covington, West Monroe, my arch nemesis, and Alexandria Senior High. As a former powerlifting coach, these teams are the blue bloods, as they call it in powerlifting world. And for what these girls accomplished, it is absolutely amazing. Coach Caleb Peterson, his staff, and everyone that assisted these girls in this bid for a state championship. I want to also congratulate the parents and family members. As most of you might know, powerlifting is not a money-making sport. These kids have to travel to all these powerlifting meets. It's very rare and very difficult to host these meets, so you're always traveling, and we rely on parents and the support of the school to get them there. Tonight is really special for me. In 1996, I started this team. I started girls powerlifting at 96 in Slidell High School, and in 6 short years, we didn't just kick the door down, we broke the door down. And for these girls, what they've accomplished this year to bring Slidell High powerlifting back to the state of Louisiana is absolutely tremendous. On behalf of the powerlifters that graduated 19 years ago, and from me as a former coach, congratulations to the Slidell High Girls State Champion Powerlifting Team. At this time, Channel 13 has produced a video for us, so we take a look at that real quick, please. Thank you.
Headed to West Monroe, that's where the state meet was held this year. It was a pretty close competition. You know, heading through the squat, we were a little bit behind, and then the deadlift came, and that's a lift that we take a lot of pride in, something we feel like we're pretty good at. And a lot of the kids started hitting new personal records, and that really kind of sealed it up for us. We ended the day with 2 individual state champions, and Bria Dimitri and Jalen Bickham, who also had the most valuable lifter award. Most importantly, the big thing we were after was that big state championship as a team together.
The bonds and the memories I've made here will affect me for the rest of my life. I never would have made it through high school without them, and I know that all my struggle here, all my effort that I've put into this will definitely translate into my life. I'll know how to keep going. I'll know what to do to get past any barriers that I meet in life.
I love these kids. We're a family in here.
I'll turn it over to Mr. Bro for our resolution.
Resolution, whereas the Slidell High School Lady Tigers powerlifting team won the 2021 Division I LHSAA Powerlifting State Championship, and whereas the team captured the championship with an outstanding showing at the LHSAA Powerlifting State Championship on Friday, March 19th, 2021 at the Font Ewing Coliseum at the University of Louisiana Monroe, and whereas Jalen Bickham earned first place, broke the state deadlift record, and was named most valuable lifter in Louisiana. Bria Dimitri also earned first place. Carmen King came in second place, followed by Lexus Monroe, Layla Fuzzy, Kelsey Fife in third place. And whereas members of the Slidell High School Lady Tigers powerlifting team have demonstrated teamwork, sportsmanship, and character, which have brought pride to their team, their families, Slidell High School, and the St. Tammany Parish Public School System. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the members of the St. Tammany Parish School Board acknowledge and congratulate Slidell High School Principal Billy Percy, coaches Caleb Peterson, Tyler Dutrich, Billy Miller, Aaron Miller, and especially the team members for their outstanding performances that led to winning the 2021 Division I LHSAA Powerlifting State Championship. Be it further resolved that this resolution be spread upon the official minutes of the board, with a copy being sent to all schools within the school system to post as a sign of congratulations to Slidell High School. I so move.
At this time, I'd like to call Coach Caleb Peterson up to the mic to say a couple words, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for the presentation and giving us the spotlight tonight. It really means a lot to our team, our school, and our program. Our coach said it best when he said it was a total team effort. It's like we all know, like everybody has to do their job in order for us to be successful as a team. And every one of those kids played a role. So thank you to each and every one of them. Thank you for y'all allowing us to be able to compete this year, because I know it means so much to me and especially the kids. Thank you to the parents that make the sacrifices, like Coach mentioned, driving, hotel reservations, and like a lot of money and a lot of time involved picking your kid up late from practice. So thank you to them. Thank you to my wife. She's not here tonight. She's at home with our little boy, but you know, I get home late a lot of times with just a little bit of time left before the lights go out to spend time with them. So thank you for the sacrifice that she and my son make. And thank God for just blessing this program the way he has. Grateful for that. And, just means a lot. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.
I've known Caleb a very long time. He's a former student of mine at North Shore High School and just a tremendous role model, so I couldn't be any happier. I'd like to thank Mr. Percy and all the administrative staff for being here, Coach Favre. And again, we know the sacrifice that all of our athletes put in, and the parents also. So I just want to thank all of our athletes, especially these girls, for all they've done and their family that supports them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Superintendent Jabia. Do we have a motion, Mr. Bro? And a unanimous second? Excellent. Do we have any comments from the public? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, do we have any comments from board members? Ms. Heinz?
Powerlifting team stand. We didn't really get to see which, here today, and I'd love to see him stand and let us recognize him as they stand.
Any other board member comments? Well, I'll just say I was on the powerlifting team at Fountain Blue when I was in high school, and I was in the 185 weight class, and I don't think I could have come in third place at Fountain Blue. So it's very impressive. Thank y'all. All right, moving on to, everybody please vote. It passed unanimously. Thank y'all. Congratulations. Up next, we have the announcement of administrative appointments. Superintendent Jabia.
Good evening, board members. I'm honored tonight to begin the reorganization that you approved with the first of 2 hires in this process. Tonight, we'll be naming 2 assistant superintendents, and I'm truly blessed to have both of them, and I am excited for the journey we're about to take on. These 2 ladies are tremendous leaders in our building, and I can't wait to see what great work results. With a tremendous amount of work and accomplishment that they put in, and at this time, I'd like to start off by introducing our first appointment. Tonight, I'm honored to appoint as Assistant Superintendent of Students with Exceptionalities and Federal Funds, Ms. Kimberly Gardner.
Right. Good evening, Superintendent Jabia, Board President Harold, and board members. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for entrusting me with this opportunity to continue to serve our students in St. Tammany Parish as Assistant Superintendent of Special Education and Federal Programs. I would like to especially thank Superintendent Jabia for giving the time and attention to these 2 key departments that we all know heavily impact our school district. I look forward to working with Superintendent Jabbia and other assistant superintendents on a unified plan that shapes the future of our students throughout the education we will provide for them. I stand here today thankful. I am thankful to stand here today as I can say I have learned how to become an effective leader by working collaboratively with an amazing team of people throughout my career, and for that I am grateful. Many of them are standing outside. Finally, I cannot end without thanking my parents, my sister, and especially my supportive husband for their continued support with my very two small children as I continue on my professional journey to fight for what's best for all children and not just my own. I am humbled by this opportunity and I'm ready to accept any challenge ahead. I know these days will be long, but with a goal-oriented mindset and the support of Mr. Jabbia, the board, and our district staff, I know we will succeed. Thank you.
Also tonight, I'm honored to appoint Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, Dr. John McCurley.
Good evening, Mr. Harrell, Superintendent Jabbia, and board members. For me, tonight is about gratitude and blessings. I'm grateful to this amazing school system for first educating my own children, but also for enabling me to serve as a classroom teacher, school administrator, central office supervisor, and now Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction. I am fortunate to work daily alongside amazing school leaders and the brilliant ladies in the C&I department, with whom I plan to build a strong team. Together, we will accomplish great things, serving our schools and equipping our students with the tools to be successful throughout their lives. My biggest blessing is my unwavering support system. My husband, Brennan, has been my sounding board, confidant, and best friend. My children and grandchildren, most of whom are tuning in remotely, with the exception of my daughter, who is present tonight, have been my greatest gifts. In this new role, I am ready to accept the challenges ahead. I fully believe in Mr. Jabbia's restructuring plan and his vision for continuous improvement and forward progress for our great school system. Thank you.
Ms. Page. Thank you, Ms. Page. And again, congratulations to our two appointees. I'm just so thrilled about the journey that we're on and where we're going to go in the school district, and I couldn't be any happier. Board members, we will continue this process. Next will be directors and then supervisors, and I will keep you posted as we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jabbia, and congratulations, ladies. We're going to take a quick 5-10 minute break to dismiss the students and guests. All right, welcome back. Moving on to public comments. For 5 minutes, we had no one signed up. For 3 minutes, going first, we had Mr. Justin Bleeker. Mr. Bleeker, will you please step up to the mic?
I am from Slidell. Please let me start by saying, forgive me. My words might be broken. I have a speech impairment and a reading difficulty. I know I want to say so much, and these rules within these meetings hold me back so much. It is so wrong that I have brought to everyone of your attentions that in 2007, 2008, employees failed to do their job. I know that it isn't 2007 and 2008, but when these facts came out in open court in 2018, none of you did anything. I understand some of you may not have known the full details of what was not done, so it has been shared with you all on many times. There is absolutely no excuse why nothing has been done. I understand that the superintendent is not over his father, but the other assistant superintendents is and has been notified in emails, and he was an employee in 2007 and 2008. So he knows who did and did not do their jobs. He has done nothing. The superintendent is still responsible for the others that did not do their jobs. The background checks is being provided for you all to see. It has the initials DD and has been clarified by the assistant superintendent who is still who this is. I am also going to share just part of deposition that clearly states the wrongdoing. I'm sorry, I can't read this word. It's clearly, it's clear. It is so clear that many judges all agreed. So board members, when the superintendent is clearly not going to remove these employees and clearly continues to allow them to work, then for a hire them for a higher position and more money, it's on you all to step in and get it done. I am asking each of you to do so. That means get rid of each and every person that cannot do their job. Do not allow people that have allowed individuals to remain working that caused me and so many others so much pain to continue to be employed of this school system. Do what is right. All sorry, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bleeker. Up next, we have Miss Rebecca Bleeker Hickman. Ms. Hickman?
Hello, my name is Rebecca Bleeker Hickman. I am the mother of Justin Bleeker. On April the 2nd, I sent out an email requesting to have a meeting with one of the employees whose initials are on these documents I have obtained through attorneys. These documents are now public records. And these documents, anyone can obtain them. These documents I'm referring to, I will leave a copy on this podium for anyone who would like to visualize them. I also will be emailing, which I've already done, each of you a copy of these documents. These documents are actual, an application and a background check of Mr. Dino Schwartz. The letters DD are on them. I feel again that by being ignored, it's just another slap in the face, just like it was last Thursday when I got home and seen a public records request of documents of the individuals to be interviewed for the new jobs. Let me say that one particular job that you have not required that the individuals need to have any kind of background with special education, this is alarming to a mother of a special education child. How can this person provide any helpful information to a special education teacher, their parents, and the children if they themselves are lost and not familiar with all the large amounts of jargon? Yeah, jargon and lots of paperwork. Anybody that's got a special needs child knows it's there. I can tell you that kids and teachers will be the ones suffering here. I truly don't even know why I'm bothering to even say this word, because what I know and I say means nothing to you. I'm appalled that the superintendent is denying a board member access to the background check still. After an open meeting, it was said she could look at this information, yet she's still being denied. Truly, what is it going to be? What are you covering it up? What's there? It's plain. As the day outside, you're hiding something. Then the retaliation. Really? Why? Each and every one of you sit here and don't act like you're not retaliating against her, okay? Because you are. You're retaliating against my own child. And I can prove it. It needs to stop. You need to have this little meeting with your little stuff tonight when you go in it, and you really need to open up and you need to talk. Oh, what is it? None of us can hear? Well, open up and talk. Guess what? Yeah, stare down. Things need to change. I am going state level, the United States Congress. I will go wherever I need to. You will change.
Thank you,
Here.
Ms. Bleeker.
See them? They're here for everybody in this building.
Up
Please
next, we
read
have
them.
Brant Osborne.
Because it's plain out.
Mr. Osborne.
They fail to do jobs.
Good evening. Brant Osborne, teacher at Slidell High School, proud resident of Slidell. How about those Lady Tigers? I talked to Mr. Broom at length before the meeting, so I had to change the whole first part of my speech. He's such a wealth of knowledge. I appreciate him. Last week, I mentioned the HCR 20 report that it examines bus owner operator compensation, including state operational pay, which hasn't been updated in 35 years. I did email that report to each of you along with a link to House Bill 364. That was filed on March 31st by Representative Melinda White. I'm currently conducting a study to gather data from St. Tammany bus owner operators to get their input. I will share this data with the board, Mr. Bodie, and Superintendent Jabia, in the hopes that we can raise awareness about the need for positive action on the part of the state. The legislative session begins Monday, and this really could be a godsend to this district and other districts with owner-operators. I'd like to close with thanking the superintendent and Ochsner Health for organizing Saturday's mass vaccination of teachers and school employees, as this is ultimately our best line of defense. Keep in mind, though, that despite declining COVID numbers, it's still possible we could see a surge before we hit herd immunity. There are also those who will not get the vaccine because they are out of sick time, and COVID days cannot be used for this purpose if they experience any kind of side effects due to the vaccine. Though not mandated, CDC best practices recommend that employers should offer flexible, non-punitive sick leave options, for example, paid sick leave, for employees with signs and symptoms after vaccination. I think such a policy would be more than fair, given everything that we've been through this year. And I do think it should be retroactive. I think this will remove a final barrier for some employees to get the vaccine, and I thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Up next, we have Ms. Diane Moore. Ms. Moore, please come to the podium, state your name and city.
Hi, before I begin, I noticed that there's some children in the room, and I'm going to be talking about the health textbooks that are being proposed for the school. And there's going to be some things that I might not want little kids to hear. So if you have little kids and you don't want them to hear things about the text health books, you might want to leave the room before I begin. The health textbooks and the things that will be in the health textbooks that are on display in this building that are being proposed for our school system. I don't want to say until I
Ms. Moore.
say it, and it's going to be coming really quick at the beginning of this speech.
Ms.
It's your
Please
own
keep-
discretion.
Thank you.
My name is Diane Moore. Androsexual, gynosexual, polysexual, scoliosexual, pansexual, demisexual. Do you know what each of these terms mean? Well, your children might learn them in our public high schools if a certain textbook, which is on display in this building right now, is adopted. There are several health textbooks on display now for review, and as someone who has reviewed them, I didn't see much focus on promoting actual health in these textbooks. But if your worldview is of the opinion that the thousands of years where humans lived with only two genders were the Dark Ages, and that good citizens will promote the idea of a multitude of genders, then you will be thrilled with textbooks that encourage students to share information on social media to increase awareness and acceptance of DSDs, differences of sexual development. In a parish where the school system won't even let a taxpayer know how much of their tax dollars has been spent litigating a case in which the school system allowed students to be raped, we seem to have ample funds to teach students all about orgasms, what the letters Q, I, A, and beyond mean when they follow the letters LGBT, and that our personal health is somehow now a government responsibility. Last month, I listened to the school board meeting in which Eric Sachs came before the board and discussed the need for positivity. I found his comments ironic because he had been the vice principal at Carolyn Park when I had taught in the gifted program there. And when I came to him with evidence of harm being done to students, he showed no concern at all. But I do agree with his assertion that we accomplish more with positivity. So I do want to thank the school board tonight. I have long been a promoter of homeschooling, and you are making my job so much easier for me to encourage parents to join the homeschooling movement. Homeschooling parents don't have to worry that a janitor may be raping their child. They can teach their children exactly what they want their children to know about sex and sexuality. And if they want to teach their children that health choices are personal decisions and not governmental responsibilities, as of now, they still can. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore, and thank you for being courteous to the other guests. Up next, we have Mr. Jonathan Koppel. Please state your name.
I'm Jonathan Koppel. I live in Lacombe. I'm actually a teacher in this district. I'm going to wind up showing you something that's about that. I didn't know she was coming. The program Brain Pop that the kids spend hours listening to is actually already teaching our kids in our district what she's talking about, as well as telling them about critical race theory. I recorded the video from Brain Pop's official Instagram page. Hope you can hear it.
Racism in our society, a built-in system of bias that makes life easier for white people and more difficult for Black people and other people of color. It puts them at greater risk for poverty, unemployment, and disease. Structural racism is a factor in some disturbing trends. Black people are nearly 6 times more likely than whites to be imprisoned. And Black men are killed by police at more than twice the rate of white men.
All right, so that's the first video. They're telling our kids, they're telling our Black children that they are oppressed by white people and that it's in the system, so they don't have a chance. And that our good policemen are more apt to shoot a Black man or a Black woman, which is ridiculous. The next video I'm going to show you, they're teaching incorrect grammar to give a kid whatever gender pronoun they want. Psychology tells you that when you're talking about sexuality with kids, their brains are not developed. You have to raise a child, you rear a child. They don't know about sexuality. When an adult pushes some kinky sexual ideas upon them, it winds up grooming them to believe whatever the adult tells them. So this is the video by Brain Pop that our kids are spending hours in front of. This is what they're telling them about the pronouns. And the ACT already gave the kids the opportunity to choose their own gender when they took the ACT. I got pictures of the forms.
Like meet Moby and Orbot. They are my best friends. Actually, yeah, they can be used as a singular pronoun too. Like if you said, I'm going to see my friend, I could ask, where do they live? Since I don't know your friend's gender identity. And some individuals prefer they as a pronoun. Like meet Orbot. They are my best friend.
We got kids that can't read and write, and then we're going to teach them incorrect grammar. I mean, it's ridiculous, okay? Who gave permission to talk about this? There's two genders. If you're born with a penis and you have testicles, that's just anatomy. You're a male. If you have a vagina and ovaries, you're a female. A man cannot menstruate. A man cannot lactate and breastfeed a child. You cannot give birth if you're a man. If you want to be an adult and do whatever you want with your life, I'm okay with that. Don't push this ideology on children. I'm not going to work in a district that's okay with that. You need to make a clear statement on how many genders are there, because parents they're already pulling their kids out of public school. They're doing homeschool options. They're going online. It's going to increase as this liberal ideology comes into our schools. This isn't a political indoctrination camp, okay? It's public education. We want to teach education, not left-wing ideas that aren't backed up by facts or science. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coble. Up next, we have Mr. Eric Sachs.
I'm going to say it out loud before I walk up. My goodness, we have a lot to talk about today. I was invited not last school board meeting, the school board, I'm sorry, I'm Eric Sachs. I was invited to the last school board meeting to talk about our association, our Retired School Employees Association. And I have passion in my heart. I have no idea what this lady's talking about. And when I turned around, she gave me a little smile, because we're decent people in this world, right? Right. I cannot believe what I'm hearing. I hate the idea that I am pulled into something. I'm just speaking my truth. I have a gay daughter. She is in a relationship. I have 3 grandchildren. I worry about them. I have a special needs child who was abused, mercilessly abused. But I'm going to talk about the retirees, because we need to look forward. And yes, ma'am, positivity is important, but I don't remember you. And no one has the right or the privilege to pull me down because you don't like what I've said. I have the right to say it. So I want to say, we have a very special person that has been selected by our association. I am the president of the St. Tammany Retired School Employees. And every year we select one student who is going into education, and we have a winner. That's what I was going to do last time. But when you get personal, no one has the right or the privilege to pull me down. And you know what? I don't care how you look at me, because I know who I am and what I'm about. So does my son. But gosh, the hate. Now, do I agree with I agree with everything they're saying, everything. But I also know this, that people in this parish, I don't want to say without exception, but they care about children. And no administrator or anybody else in their right mind would want someone to damage their kids. My gosh. But I tell you what, if I see anything on social media about me, I'm coming after you. And I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about, because I'm going to stand up here and I'm going to say, I'm not going to be canceled. I'm not going to be pushed into a corner. But if I had an issue at that school, and I had lots, we had guidelines to follow, and we followed them. And sometimes you can't tell people what they want to know. That's just the way it is. But anyway, let's get back to the school employees. We are 800 members strong. We meet 6 times a year, and thank you for allowing us to meet in the Treen facility, because it's been very helpful. Our job is to advocate for our retirees, and we include school employees. That means not just teachers, but the organization we work with is the LRTA, which is our advocacy group
I'm gonna give you a couple more minutes so we can actually hear.
Thank
what
you.
So please, thank you.
We have an advocacy group that makes sure that the laws that are coming through or being introduced to the legislature don't damage our retirement. Our retirement in this state for the school employees is doing quite well. And that we have legislators that want to use those assets for other things. And we have a defined benefit, not a hybrid plan, and that's the way we need to go. Because I'm trying to support myself in retirement on one salary. You know why? Because my wife worked at home and took care of my child, who has special needs. And I just want you to know I appreciate everything that you do for the children. I know that you want to take things seriously and get things done. But I'm not going to be pulled into this, whatever's going on in this society of ours. I'm not going to do it. I am who I am. My children went through hell and they came out on the other side. Let's look forward. Let's solve the problem. Sit down and do what we can do in the confines of what we can do and make sure that we do it in a positive way, period. But I'm sorry I'm taking so long, but my passion, you can see I'm passionate about this. But we have a senior at Covington High School is our winner of our scholarship. It's a $1,000 scholarship. This year, we did not have any fundraisers because of COVID. We haven't met since March of last year. Her name is Isabel Massey, and she is going to Southeastern, and she will be studying history education. Our next board meeting is May 6th, and we are going to present that to she and her parents. And our last meeting for the year will be a general meeting where we will follow all the guidelines for COVID, but we're having a summer picnic theme. So we're having individual lunches and we're going to have like a little picnic out there at Treen.
Perfect. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
And
so
congratulations, Ms. Massey.
Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. All right, that is the last speaker for the 3 minutes. So we'll move on to the approval of recommendations from the committee as a whole meeting for human resources and education that was held on April 1st, 2021. Mr. Winkler?
Mr. President, the committee as a whole for Human Resources and Education met on April 1st, 2021, and recommended the acceptance of the following new job descriptions. I'll start with the Human Resources Supervisor of Employee Support Services, and I so move.
Do we have a second? Thank you so much, Ms. Baker. Do we have any questions from the public or comments from the public? I'm sorry. Seeing none, any questions from board members? Seeing none, please vote. And that motion passed unanimously.
The second job description, Human Resources Supervisor of Certificated Employees, and I so move.
Do I have a second? Ms. Page, thank you. Do we have any comments by the public? Seeing none, any questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that passes unanimously. Mr. Winkler?
The next one is Supervisor of Federal Programs, and I so move.
Mr. Kuzan seconded. Do we have any comments by the public? Seeing none, any comments from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passed unanimously.
The next job description is Supervisor of Elementary Grades, Pre-K through 6, and I so move.
Do I have a second? Mr. Luke, thank you. Do we have any comments from the public? Seeing none, any comments from board members? No comments. Everyone, please vote. And that motion passed unanimously.
The last job description, supervisor of secondary grades 7 through 12, and I so move.
Mr. Betancourt seconds. Do we have any comments by the public? Seeing none. Do we have any questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that passed unanimously. Thank you so much, Mr. Winkler.
Okay, that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Moving on to the recommendations from the committee as a whole for business affairs and administrative. Mr. Bro.
Yes, the committee as a whole for business affairs and administrative met on April 1st and came up with the following recommendations. First, recommends adoption of a resolution for redistricting services from Strategic Demographics LLC. And Mr. Derman, I yield the floor to you.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe. The resolution reads, resolution of St. Tammany Parish School Board authorizing and directing the president to execute a contract with Strategic Demographics LLC to provide reapportionment and redistricting services to St. Tammany Parish School Board. Wherefore, pursuant to the United States Constitution and federal law, this is conducted a decennial census of the population of the United States. Wherefore, the most recent federal decennial census was conducted in 2020, and the results will be released 2021. Wherefore, Louisiana law mandates that the St. Tammany Parish School Board consider the impact of the federal decennial census on the election districts for the board members of the St. Tammany Parish School Board to determine whether the relative populations of those election districts are in accordance with the principles of one person, one vote set forth in the United States Constitution. Wherefore, in order to accomplish this obligation, the St. Tammany Parish School Board requires the assistance of professionals in demographics, reapportionment, and redistricting. Wherefore, Strategic Demographics LLC, through its principals and subcontractors, has extensive experience in demographics, reapportionment, and redistricting, including experience following the 2000 and the 2010 census. Wherefore, the Strategic Demographics LLC has submitted a proposed contract for demographic services, a copy of which is attached hereto. Now therefore be it resolved that the St. Tammany Parish School Board authorizes and directs its duly elected president, C. Brandon Harrell, to execute the contract for demographic services with Strategic Demographics LLC. Be it further resolved that the St. Tammany Parish School Board authorizes and directs the superintendent and administrative staff to take all actions necessary to carry out the contract for demographic services with Strategic Demographics LLC. Be it finally resolved that the St. Tammany Parish School Board directs the superintendent to forward an executed copy of this resolution and the attached contract for demographic services to Strategic Demographics LLC. And I so move.
Do I have a second?
Or second, whatever.
Ms. Baker, thank you for the second. Do we have any comments by the public? Any questions from the board? Dr. Bill Blair is here for questions. Ms. Heinz?
I don't have a question, but I feel like it's important to say, again, what I said at the school board committee as a whole meeting, that this redistricting is for the purpose of voter representation by school board members. It does not mean a redistricting of school attendance boundaries. Because when you just hear that word redistrict, you automatically go to school attendance boundaries. This does not affect that.
Thank you, Ms. Heinz. Any additional questions from board members? Mr. Green?
And this is a requirement to use an outside consultant. This is a requirement of the law, correct?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
And facilitate it and make it a lot easier to do.
Okay.
Not required.
Ms. Heinz?
Mr. Green, I'll just point out that we have done it in-house in the past, since I have longevity on the board. At one time, we tried to do it ourselves, but it's a very complicated process. And having a professional help us, just a lot of different rules and regulations that go along with it. So I think it's money well spent to do it this way.
Any additional comments? Mr. Derman?
Just for the record, I think it would be appropriate to identify the cost from the previous redistricting to this year's or this time. It's a 10-year cycle, so I would like for someone to identify that exact number.
Could you please give us an idea of what we're going to be?
I think I know it. So we did it for you last, or I helped do it for you last time. I believe the contract in 2010 was for $24,000, and we're doing it for you for $16 this time, for a variety of reasons, which I can go into if you're interested.
Thank you. I just wanted to verify that point and the fact that it's underneath the $25,000 contract threshold, that this is proper to select, a vendor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Derman, for pointing that out. Any additional questions? Mr. Broom, we asked about public comments a few minutes ago. Thank you. Board members, will you please vote? And the motion passes 13 yeas and 1 abstention. Mr. Bro?
Secondly, the committee recommends the acceptance of the 2020-2021 agency-approved budgets for federal, state, and local grants obtained throughout the school year to date. And I so move.
Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Hersey, for the second. Do we have any comments from the public? Seeing none, do we have any comments from board members? Dr. Richardson.
Mr. Harrell, I guess I'm a little confused. We normally do board comment first, then the public. What happened? What's changed?
Still following the law, but we're doing that, and then it opens it up. If there's a public comment, then a board member can ask it.
The only reason I'm asking is I think that given the dialogue that we have, the questions we have, that might provoke another question. And that's my concern, is we're cutting the public off at their knees from responding to our comments, because I think that our feedback is important for them.
But we also give them an opportunity. If they ask the question, then a board member can ask for them and get the answer. Whereas once they...
When would that happen? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, then can I ask counsel then? Because I'm really, this is new to me.
Mr. Harrison,
You're our Robert's Rule of Order guru. I mean, can you help?
The state law 42:15 requires public comment before a vote. It doesn't specify in which order that would occur.
But Robert's Rules of Order doesn't spell that out?
Robert's Rules of Order is, again, just procedural.
No, it's our policy, actually. It's our policy. I disagree. I'm sorry. We have a policy that says we choose as a board to use Robert's Rules of Order. So I'm going to disagree on that.
Well, you can choose to use them, but to make
What's our
them
policy?
law would be maybe an overstepping of those rules.
Okay.
The point to the rules is clarity. So whenever you allow the comments
Of
before
course.
a vote, that's what's legally required. If you have a policy that then outlines your internal procedures, then as you've outlined, I recommend you follow them. But if you're
Right. Our policy says we use Robert's Rules of Order, and I think you're a Robert's Rule of Order guru. So I mean,
I'm really not. Honestly, they don't teach Robert's Rules of Order in law school
said
because
that.
they're not laws.
In a previous, okay, I'm sorry, but I just
Thank you,
don't,
Mr.
I don't
Harrison.
know how
I
I'm
do a
supposed
lot
to
of
know their
governmental
question.
work. I'm very familiar with them. I do not know of a rule that specifies in which order the board or the public has to comment prior to voting.
Okay. I just don't know how to, if I'm supposed to get the constituents' question, how I'm supposed to do that. That makes no sense to me. I'm sorry. I would love some detail, I guess, from you to explain how I'm supposed to know what my question is from the constituents if they don't get to respond to us.
Just a point of clarification, the chairman has a lot of power to recognize someone in the audience. So if there was a question that came up, that could certainly happen.
Thank you. Let's get back to voting on the budget for the federal. Do we have any board member? Any questions from board members about the budget? Seeing none, everyone please vote. We have 13 yeas and 1 abstention. Mr. Bro.
All right, thirdly, the committee recommends the acceptance of the low base bid alternate number 1, number 2, and number 3 submitted by Frank Anzalone, General Contractor Incorporated, in the amount of $4,291,000 for the additions at Bayou Woods Elementary School, project number 1910. Mr. Kuzan? Oh,
Ms. Lamy, would you?
Ms. Lamy.
We were still counting to see how many people were here because we must have missed it.
I so move.
I didn't hear it, sorry.
Ms. Lamy, would you like to make the motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second? Ms. Page? Do we have any comments by the public? Please.
It's $4,291,000. What I need to do, submit a public records request for me to be able to see where you spending $4 million on? Nobody can answer that? I just asked.
It's just comments from the public.
It's
Thank-
just comments, but my thing is, I'd like to know where $4 million is being spent. Okay, I have a son, I have an ex-husband and a current husband who's worked in contractor, as a general contractor, all this good stuff. And I surely don't see where $4 million, unless somebody can tell me where it's going at, y'all spending some money awful drastic. And yes, I did raise my hand for the last one. I wanted to make a comment before you voted. Okay? And it's
Thank you, Ms.
wrong.
Bleeker. Board members, do you have any comments, questions? Ms. Heinz?
Mr. Harrell, I think it would be important at this point that we ask Ms. Tipton to come up and explain that that project. You know, I know that this was one of our projects that was in our last bond issue, and I don't remember all the specifics of the renovation there, but I would appreciate the comments.
Thank you, Ms. Heinz, for getting the answers from Ms. Bleeker. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. This is part of, as you pointed out, the capital improvements that were part of the 2019 bond issue that went before the voters. This is for additions to Bayou Woods Elementary School. It will replace the modular wing that is in place. It is a kindergarten wing primarily, 8 classrooms with 2 large commons areas that they share. It also replaces their front drive. We'll put in a new entry canopy and new look to the front of the school. It'll renovate the entry to the school and the office administrative areas, And it will do some drainage work around Bayou Woods and Carolyn Park, which is adjacent.
Thank you, Ms. Tipton. You know, we made a pledge to our constituency communities that we would work towards eliminating our modular buildings.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm glad that this project will be able to go forward and we'll be able to put real brick and mortar there.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hines. Ms. Lamy.
I just want to thank you again, Ms. Tipton, because I spoke with Kathy, the principal at Bayou Woods, and she is ecstatic to have a new entrance, and it's really needing some love, and so the students are really excited too. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lamy. Do we have any other questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Mr. Bro?
Finally, the committee recommends acceptance of Salmon High School welding shop and career technical classrooms as substantially complete, subject to architect's recommendations, submission of all regulatory requirements, and approval of Superintendent Javia's STP project number 1970.
Mr. Hersey, would you like to make that motion? Ms. Lamy is second. Thank you. Any comments by the public? Seeing none, any questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously.
That completes the committee as whole recommendations.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bro. Up next, we have the approval of minutes for the special board meeting held March 4th, 2021. Do I have a motion? Ms. Baker, do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Page. Do we have any comments by the public? Any questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Item B, approval of minutes for the regular meeting held March 11th, 2021. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Loop. Do I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Lamy. Do we have any comments by the public? Any questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passed unanimously. Item C, approval of minutes for the special board meeting held March 17th, 2021. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Ms. Lamy. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Winkler. Do we have any comments by the public? Any comments from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion carried 12 yeas, 2 abstentions. Up next, Mr. Kosei.
Thank you, President Harrell, Superintendent Jabbia, board members. Item D is the appropriate retirement resolutions on the following certificated personnel subsequent to March 11th, 2021 meeting. Barbara A. Myers, Slidell pupil appraisal, 23.33 years, 21.12 years in St. Tammany Parish.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Darman, do I have a second? Mr. Kuzan. Any comments by the public? Seeing none, any questions by board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously. Mr. Koso?
Thank you, President Harrell. We have a change to this list. The first person you see there listed will not be retiring and will be returning to her regular duties bright and early Monday morning. So that name is withdrawn. So I give you the final two names of appropriate retirement resolutions on the following non-certificated personnel subsequent to the March 11th, 2021 meeting. Jimmy L. Price, Lake Harbor Middle, 6.76 years, all in St. Tammany Parish. Sandra A. Hambrick, Madisonville Junior High, 8.66 years, all in St. Tammany Parish.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Bro? Second by Mr. Betancourt. Any comments by the public? Any questions from board members? Ms. Baker?
I just have a question. I'm so confused how you can retire with benefits at 6 and 8 years. Is it age?
It depends on the age. There's several different factors, but that could be one of them. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any other questions for board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passed unanimously. Ms. Tipton, up next is a consideration of bids for Covington High School's additions.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We received these bids on Tuesday of this week, April the 6th. With these, the bid tabulation, our recommendation was uploaded to board docs. We're recommending acceptance of the low base bid, alternate number 1, alternate number 2, and alternate number 3 submitted by Frank A. Angelone General Contractor Incorporated in the amount of $17,309,000 for the additions at Covington High School, St. Tammany Parish School Board Project number 1920.
Thank you, Ms. Heinz and Mr. Darman for the second. Do we have any comments by the public? Seeing none, do we have any comments, questions by board members? Ms. Heinz.
This light. Ms. Tipton, would you please explain what the alternates 1, 2, and 3 are?
Yes,
please?
ma'am. I'll also mention that the base bid itself is 41 classrooms. And then alternate number 1 adds a band facility, which they were in great need of more space for. So that gives them the band room and band rehearsal and storage and other associated areas for that. And then alternate number 2 is the demolition. Their existing sports medicine and athletic training facility is 2 portable buildings. This will construct an addition to the existing weight room building to provide for that scope. And then the alternate number 3 is construction of a new student services addition to the administration building at the front of the school, as well as an entry plaza and covered walkway between the school and the auditorium, which the school has needed, and that's on the west side of the campus.
And would you confirm that this is one of the projects from our bond
It's part
issue?
of 2019 bond issue that we were just speaking about, and it replaces the modulars and the portable classrooms on campus, which there are quite a few of
Like a
those.
village back there?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this within budget?
It is actually our remaining budget, because there are a couple of other jobs that had to be associated with this, including the tennis court project, because we needed to move or have tennis courts in a different location to build this. And so those old tennis courts will be demolished. And there are also some temporary modulars that had to be put in place, 6 classrooms to assist us with some classes during this construction period. But we had 18.4, so we did very well with this bid. It was very competitive.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate the information.
Thank you, Ms. Heinz. Mr. Derman.
Thank you, Mr. Harrell. Ms. Tipton, just out of curiosity, I believe this contractor won both bids, the one prior to this and this one as well. And I know we use this firm regularly. I understand that. Is there any concern over capacity as far as the amount of work that they have or being able to fulfill the timelines in construction with them or any other contractor that would be on a job? Yeah, I'm just
I
looking at the
understand.
amount of the
Yes, sir.
volume of work and their availability. I'm just curious.
So this contractor has been in business for quite a while. They
Yeah,
have done
30,
several
40
projects
years, yeah.
for us over the years, including the building that we're in, as well as most recently the additions to Mayfield Elementary School. They have the bonding capacity to do this work. They've certainly handled multiple projects, not just ours, but others at the same time. So I would expect that they can certainly do this.
Okay, I was just curious if that had ever entered into I know it's a public bid, so I mean, they have to bid it and based on our architect specs and everything as to what we expect to, the job to be as far as cost factors and all that. But I was just curious if at any point in time that they overload themselves because they're trying to bid so many, thinking they may not get some, but they do get them. So I was just curious.
Our experience with this company is that they're well
Yeah, and I'm not
organized
picking
and
on this
organized.
company. I'm
No,
just
it's
saying in general, you know, if that ever was a problem at any point in time.
Sure that there are considerations in that manner, but.
But that's
we
not
always
not part of the
work through those.
consideration of the bid.
That's not part of public bid law. and
So whenever we
consideration
bid it
relative to
out
that.
and they bid it and they get it and it's a qualified bid, then they're
It's within
selected.
budget and within the law, then we recommend it and the board.
And then if they
basically has
can't
to accept
perform,
it.
then there's also penalties on the backside of that.
And we require 100% bond to back that up. And
So that's our protection.
bond company will have to step in if it.
And there
does
is a
not
time
perform.
stipulation as to the completion of the work.
That's correct.
Okay. That kind of clarifies that we do have guarantees in place regardless of the awarding of different jobs to a certain individual contractor, not this contractor. I'm talking about any contractor.
Yes,
that
sir.
we do have a security in place that if they default or they can't produce, then we have assurances to move forward with getting the project completed.
We do. We require in our contracts that there be 100% of the value of the job is held by a bonding company.
Okay,
that can
thank
back
you.
that, insure it.
Any additional questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tipton. Up next, we have item G, to consider and take action with respect to adopting a resolution ordering and calling a special election to be held in St. Tammany Parish-wide School District Number 12 of the Parish of St. Tammany, State of Louisiana, to authorize and renewal of ad valorem taxes therein, making application to the State Bond Commission in connection therewith, and providing for other matters in connections therewith. Do I have a motion? Mr. Betancourt, do I have a second? Mr. Green? Do we have any comments by the public? Seeing none, board members, any questions? Mr. Sluter and Ms. Prevost are here for questions. Seeing, Mr. Derman?
Yes, sir, Mr. Harrell. I think it would be appropriate for Mr. Sluter to approach the podium and explain that what this renewal consists of for the general public to understand.
Thank you, Mr. Derman. Welcome, Mr. Sluter.
Thank you. Grant Schluter with Foley Udell Bond Council. The resolution places on the ballot for the October 9th election 4 propositions to renew 4 of your operating millages. Each of these propositions provides for the same millage rate, no increase, the same purpose, and the same number of years for the renewal. So this is every 10 years for each of your millages, operating millages, you must renew them. And this is 4 of those that have come up at this point in time for renewal.
Thank you, Mr. Jarman. Any additional questions from board members? Seeing none, everyone please vote. And that motion passed unanimously. Thank you so much, Mr. Sluter. Moving on to announcements. The high school graduations will be held Wednesday, April 28th through Tuesday, May 4th. The graduation dates are included in your handouts. Please RSVP to the school if you will be attending their graduation. The May Committee as a Whole meeting will be held on Thursday, May 6th at 6 p.m. Item 8, an executive session has been requested pursuant to LRS 4217A2 to discuss the following matters: John Doe and Jane Doe individually and on behalf of their minor child, Johnny Doe and First ABC School, Joseph Doe and DEF School Board 22nd Judicial District, docket number 2008-12-12925, Division A. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
I move that we go into executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Betancourt. Do I have a second? Ms. Heinz. Any comments by the public? Seeing none, any questions by board members? Seeing none, please vote. Aye. Thank you so much for catching that, Ms. Coakley. The vote was unanimous. We are now in executive session. Do a quick recess for everyone to leave the room?